Abdirahim Abdullahi was, according to a statement from the Ministry of Interior Security, the son of a chief in Mandera County. Mandera borders Somalia. The statement further says that his father had reported to the authorities that his son had gone missing and suspected that he had gone to Somalia. Abdullahi was a University of Nairobi law graduate. His ailing father, who's receiving treatment in Nairobi, did not agree to speak to the media. At a mortuary in Nairobi, grieving relatives continue to look for answers. When we spoke to Evans Wafula on Saturday, he was clinging on to hope that his relative would be among those who managed to escape.
By evening, when the buses arrived from Garissa, he was not among those who were in the buses. And that's when we got the sad news by the friends who managed to survive, that he was among those who were shot dead early in the morning.
The story is repeated over and over here. The pain for many relatives unbearable.
Unfortunately, our chairman passed on, and we have identified the body.
The Kenyan government has recalled staff at the Registrar of Persons to assist with the process of identification of remains. Just about half of those who died in the attacks have been positively identified. Kenyan authorities have come under heavy criticism for what local media reports said was its slow response to dispatch specialized officers to Garissa to end the siege, which lasted 15 hours.
I think the threat is real, and the government should always be alert and be able to respond quickly, because it took them so long to intervene, and we will have saved more lives.
The government, through Interior Security Ministry, says it handled the situation in the best way it could. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta said those who attacked the university are embedded in Kenyan Muslim communities. Sarah Kimani, SABC News, Kenya.
Well, for more on the story, we're joined now by our foreign correspondent, Sarah Kimani. Sarah, good evening to you. First of all, what do these revelations mean to the investigations, and what more do we know about Abdirahim Abdullahi?
Well, what it means, good evening to you, what it means is that now the Kenyan government has leads as to the people who are involved in this attack. We understand Abdirahim Abdullahi, who they say is about 24 years old, traveled to Somalia after he abandoned his job as a legal practitioner at a local bank here in Kenya. After that, he moved first to Mombasa, where we understand that's where he was radicalized, and then he moved to Somalia. Initially, one of their friends says that he wanted to go to Syria to fight alongside the rebels there. However, when he did not make it, then he chose to go to Somalia. When his father knew that he had joined Shabaab and that he was training with Shabaab, he reported to the police. So the police have been tracking him. And when he came back to Kenya, again, the father reported. We still don't understand at what point they lost track of him. We also understand now that police have arrested at least 5 people who they say are helping them with investigations into the Garissa attack.
And now, Sarah, this troubled northeastern region has been hit by waves of insurgent attacks, and the Kenyan government has come under a lot of criticism for not responding quickly enough to what's been happening. So what have we heard from the government?
Well, we spoke to the government spokesperson in charge of the Interior Security Ministry, and he said that when you compare the response this time to the response during the Westgate Mall attack, which took about 4 days, they said that this time the government responded faster. They said they have learned a lot of lessons from the Westgate Mall attack, which they used in this particular siege. However, a lot of people who you speak to, and the local media reports here, have come out strongly. They say that it should not have taken 15 hours to, overpower just 4 attackers. They say that more could have been done, the troops could have been deployed faster, and that by now they should not be stationed in Nairobi. Instead, they should be deployed across the country in areas that are seen as hotspots and likely targets for the Shabaab.
All right, and Sarah, I would imagine the situation or the atmosphere must be quite tense in Kenya. Just update us on the security situation at the moment.
Security has been heightened in most areas across the country. When you go to a church, you will find now we have police officers manning the gates to the church. We have people with metal detectors frisking you. You will not enter a bus in most parts of the city without having people frisk you. However, the complaint that has come from a lot of Kenyans is that it happens like this every time. Security is heightened just after an attack, and immediately, probably a week or two later, everything goes back to normal and everybody relaxes, and that's when the country is caught off guard. In fact, the Minister for Interior, Joseph Kaiseri, has been quoted as saying that the country was actually caught off guard during the Garissa attack.
And I suppose that's something that the government will have to look at in the future. Finally, Sarah, what is next for the families of the victims?
It will be a long process for the family and very painful, I must say. You've seen from the pictures that we have just shown you in that story. We have parents coming to look for their children here. A lot of them have not yet found their loved ones because according to the government and according to the Red Cross officials at the mortuary, most of the bodies are badly damaged, and so they are now going to move on to the next process of identification, where they will use the fingerprints to be able to identify them. The Kenyan government are breaking short the holiday of people from the registrar of persons here in the country to be able to come out and help them identify the remains of the loved ones. Very painful process. We do not know how long that will take before it is done and they can finally give their loved ones a decent send-off.
Sarah Kimani, live from Nairobi, thank you very much. Well, on the back of that, in the Vatican City, Pope Francis has